What's up, everybody? So in this video we're going to be looking at this ox, but actually we're going to be looking at oxidation and reduction. Okay, so this is a small topic that you need to quickly revise in IB biology, but it's not a big thing because it's more of a chemistry thing. But unfortunately there's a small aspect of it that you do need to quickly revise. So we're quickly going to go over that, but again, it's really more of a chemistry thing, but multiple choice questions often come up on this. Okay, the very basics of it. So what exactly is oxidation and reduction? So we know that our body has many types of reactions, right? Many kinds of reactions can happen. Oxidation is one of them, and reduction is another, and there are many more, okay? So what exactly is oxidation and reduction? So let's say we have this molecule here, okay? Now, molecules carry hydrogens and electrons and some other elements, okay? But we're going to focus here on electrons and hydrogens, okay? Now, some carry more than others. So in this example, we're going to say this one carries a lot of hydrogens, a lot of electrons, and this one carries some, maybe doesn't carry much, okay? Maybe it still carries some, but not much. Now, oxidation is when a molecule loses a hydrogen or an electron. Okay, when it loses a hydrogen or an electron. So let's say this molecule here transfers its hydrogen and its electron to this molecule here. What happened now? What exactly happened now? What happened is this molecule then lost these two and became this. Okay, and this molecule gained those and became this. So when a molecule loses a hydrogen or an electron, we call it oxidation. When a molecule gains hydrogen or electron, we call it reduction, okay? And what you need to understand, that's very important, is that these two always happen together. The only way that this molecule here was able to gain a hydrogen and an electron to become this molecule was if another molecule lost it and gave those things to it, okay? So without reduction, the only way reduction can happen, the only way this one was able to happen was because oxidation happened for another molecule. So they always happen together. They are linked. Now we call this kind of reaction a redox reaction. Why? Because reduction, oxidation, they always happen together. So we mixed them. We gave them this name, redox. Okay? That is really it that you need to know. Okay? There's small other details which I'm going to cover now. But you also need to know why this matters. Why do we care about this? Okay, because this process, a redox reaction, is what happens in cell respiration. Remember, cell respiration is the process by which our cells make ATP, right? By breaking down glucose, right? We eat food and then we have glucose in our body, and our glucose are going to be broken down into ATP, right? The exact mechanism is this. Glucose reacts with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Now, how exactly did redox happen here? So what happens is, essentially, glucose is a molecule, right? And glucose, let's pretend it's this molecule, it ends up being oxidized. It gets broken down into carbon dioxide. Okay, how? Because see here, glucose, it has a lot of hydrogens, but it's going to pass on those hydrogens to this oxygen. So this here is oxygen, this blue molecule here. Now, oxygen will now gain all of these hydrogens, because we know oxygen is O2, right? Now, after it gains all these hydrogens and electrons, it now has H's. So we can call it H2O, okay? Now, in the process, glucose got converted into carbon dioxide. How is that? Because glucose here, you can see it has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but it's lost all its hydrogens through oxidation. Okay, so now it's just carbon dioxide, only has carbon and oxygen. So this is one real example that you need to know about a redox reaction. Don't need to know very specific steps, exactly the specific details. If you remember what I just showed you here, that's all you need to know, okay? For biology, there's just these small details that can appear on multiple choice questions, but it's not going to be as details as what a chemistry student would need to know, okay? Now, the last part here. Here's a little table distinguishing between oxidation and reduction. So oxidation, as we saw, is loss of electrons or loss of hydrogen. Reduction is the contrary, the gain of electrons or gain of hydrogen. Remember this? Now, another small thing we can add to it is oxidation can also be called oxidation if a molecule gained oxygen. So let's say this glucose gained an oxygen and became another molecule. This would be called oxidation because it got oxidized, it gained an oxygen. On the contrary, let's say this glucose lost an oxygen and became another molecule, then it would be called reduction. So there are three definitions that you need to know. It could either be loss of electrons, loss of hydrogen, or gain of oxygen, or reduction can be the exact opposite, okay? So here's one last thing we can help remember. Oil rig. If you don't know what oil rig is, go look up an image, okay? It's a little tool, okay? And we can use this acronym. Look, oil rig. Oxidation is loss of electrons and hydrogen. Reduction is gain of electrons and hydrogen. So that's one small way to help you remember these first two. The last one is just the exact opposite. So I hope this was useful. Don't go and do a bunch more research. What I show you here is really all you need to know for IB biology, oxidation and reduction, okay, regarding cell respiration.